So first of all, I want to welcome to all the audience for 15th Tezbul conference and myself Kailash Pathak, and my topic on in this conference is Cypress best practices for the enterprise application. So let's move to the next slide. So this is the agenda basically. So first I will give some introduction about the Cypress, then I will explain the Cypress architecture. Actually, I do not want to directly jump to the Cypress best practices, so it might be possible few of the folks are new in Cypress, so I want to just give the context about the Cypress before moving to the best practices. Okay, then after Cypress architecture, then I will explore some of the feature that makes Cypress unique, and then I will explain few best practices of the Cypress that you can implement uh, when you when you implement your framework, or you can say when you create the framework in Cypress. This is me, myself, Kailash Pathak. So I am working as a senior creative manager in Thipa Global. And so I have started my career in testing or automation 15 years back. So as usual, I started my career as a manual testing. So initially, 1 or 2 years I work in manual testing. Then I work 1 to 2 years in QTP. Then there's a tool test complete. Then I work in Selenium. And from last 4 to 5 years, I am working in Cypress or Playwright basically. So before moving to the about the Cypress and all, I want to just want to share my journey with the Cypress, how I come to the Cypress actually. So basically, previously the Cypress, previous the Cypress, I use actually Selenium. So Selenium is a nice tool actually. Even right now, they have already launched the Selenium 4, and it's become, I mean, I would say it's a, now Selenium 4 is trending the market, and no doubt it's still number one, and I totally respect for the Selenium. But again, as the nowadays application, we are normally making our application like JS-based framework. Normally, we are using during the development. So normally, people are preferring to use the JS-based automation framework as well. So my journey starts with Cypress 4 to 5 years back. So as I mentioned, I previously used the Selenium. So what happened actually 6 years back? So when I was using Selenium, so at the time, basically facing the mainly the problem that we are facing, or my team is facing with the flakiness in the Selenium actually. So when we execute the test case locally, it's for fine, but sometimes when they go to the CI/CD pipeline, they start failing, or vice versa. So what happened in one of the there was another team in the client side actually. So which are they are just started Cypress, and one guy from their team is using the Cypress, and he has created one POC. And what happened in one of the meeting, he showcased us the Cypress POC basically. So and what I see, the my first impression for the Cypress goes at the time 5 to 4 5 years back. It's very fast and easy to installation. So what our team thought, why not we also make a POC for our existing test case that we are right now in Selenium. So we started creating the test cases in Cypress. So basically what we did initially, we have automated our 30 or 40 test cases. So the my first impression that go for the Cypress is very easy to installation, and setup is very easy, and hardly it take hardly 4 to I would say 7 or 8 to 10 seconds to install it to Cypress in the machine. And if you compare with the Selenium, it will definitely will take some time because we have to install so many library and all. And within 1 or 2 minutes, you can start creating your test case in the Cypress actually. So that is the impression that go my mind basically, that decide me to basically to automate our some of the test cases of Selenium in Cypress. So me and my team basically we have automated few of the test cases in Cypress. And what we see, there's a drastical change in the execution time and easy installation. Execution time is very fast, easy deployment, and even in the CI/CD pipeline, when we integrate our Cypress test case with the CI/CD pipeline, they are executing very fast there. So that is the reason. From there, I start using the Cypress. But I want to say again, Selenium is also a good tool. No tool is bad actually. Every tool has some pros and cons, right? And right now they have already, just as I mentioned, they already launched the Selenium 4. So I mean, it's a really amazing tool, right? But again, depend upon the requirement of your project or your client. If your client want to automate the things in Cypress, then you have to Cypress or Playwright, whatever the tool you have to do actually, right? So that is the reason I moved from Selenium to basically Cypress, and this is all about me. And I am also the Cypress ambassador. Okay. So from last 4 to 5 years now, I am using basically Cypress or Playwright. So let's move to the my next slide. This is the about the introduction of the Cypress. So from the screenshot I attached here, you can see here before Cypress and basically and when Cypress and when the Cypress introduced in the market. So when we do not have Cypress in the market, actually we are normally we using Selenium Protector or Nightwatch or something. They are also using the Selenium wrapper. So first of all, Cypress end-to-end testing framework they're used to test the web application. It's a JavaScript JS-based framework, right? So initially it developed for the developer, but later on they have decided to to provide this tool for the QA team also. So right now, using the Cypress, basically we can do 5 type of automation. We can do UI automation, we can do API automation, we can do the accessibility, we can do visual testing, and we can do the mobile responsiveness testing. So before Cypress, when we do not have the Cypress, basically normally, if you guys have worked in Selenium, so you have to install the Cypress Selenium. Basically, we have to install the different libraries, and we have to install the driver for the Chrome, for the Firefox, and also for the SSN, we have to install the SSN library there. But once the Cypress come into the market, basically, so Cypress come as a bundle actually. So in Cypress, you don't need to install basically anything. They have their own default framework. They have SSN library. They use the Chai, basically the Chai, and they use the Mocha framework for the creating the test cases. And they have some default basically reporting mechanism also. They have their own default reporting system where that can be that can you use for basically to integrate in the project basically. And apart from default reporting, you can also integrate like third party like Allure or Mocha or some reporting. So that is the good thing about the Cypress. So I meant to say Cypress come as a bundle. You don't need to install anything. You have to just install it, and they have their own framework basically. And I will let you know what are the folder structure and all. And if you even I would say if you follow their folder structure, and you can start basically I would say initial level of framework at least, right? So that is the good thing that attract me to use the Cypress. And also as I mentioned, we can do the multiple type of testing with the Cypress API testing, UI, accessibility, visual testing, and mobile responsiveness testing. So using a single tool, we don't need to install anything. Using a single tool, multiple type testing we can perform. So let's move to the next slide. So Cypress installation is very easy. So here you can see there are 2 ways to install. First, just create a folder and just run this npm init command, which will create the package or JSON file. And then you can just install the npm install Cypress, or you can use the yarn actually, or npx, whatever you want to use. Other way is basically you can download the exe also, right? And it will take hardly 8 to 10 seconds, or I would say maximum 15 seconds to install in your system. And once installation is done, you can start getting your test cases. So that is the beauty of the basically Cypress. Installation is very easy actually compared to traditional tools. So let's move to the Cypress architecture. So Cypress architecture is basically, it's a unique architecture. So in the left side, and one thing I want to mention is this image I have taken from the test grid. So in the left side, you can see this is the web, and this is my operating system. And in the operating system, we have a node server and we have Cypress. So this node servers communicate with the browser with the help of some proxy, right? And via the WebSocket protocol. The unique thing about the Cypress architecture is in Cypress, the code is executed inside the browser actually. That is the good thing about the Cypress. And in other traditional tools, basically like Selenium and other tools, so we have to basically communicate with the browsers, right? But here in the browser, code itself executed in the browser itself. So we don't need to install. First of all, we don't need to install any Chrome library or Chrome driver or Firefox driver, anything. So in the browser, so using this proxy connection with WebSocket protocol, we will communicate with this browser, and this code is here, and code executed inside the browser. And good thing about this, because as I mentioned, code is executed inside the browser. So if my code is in the browser, then this is one of the, I would say, this is the one of the beauty of the Cypress. You can access basically the DOM, you can access the window, you can access the local storage, you can access the session storage. That is one of the reason basically you can do the API automation very easily in the Cypress. You can do the mocking, you can session management, you can handle very well. Cookies you can handle very well. That is the thing basically, that's the unique thing that Cypress have actually, right? So all the point I have mentioned here, like at the browser level, Cypress can access everything like DOM, dev tool, and local and storage, network layer, and window object actually. Let's move to the next slide. Now come to the some of the feature of the Cypress that make him unique. So as I mentioned, easy installation. Cypress installation is very easy. So Cypress can be installed with the npm package. You do not require any additional dependency, at least for the installation. But yes, if you want to integrate any third party reporting or some other, like for the visual, for the accessibility, then definitely you have to do installation some npm package there. And installation is very easy, as I already mentioned. Automatic waiting mechanism is there in Cypress. So every command in Cypress wait for by default the 4 seconds, and we can increase this 4 seconds with at the command level, or we can config this at the config level. Basically, this we can do the basically wait mechanism. We can wait the particular command for, like, by default is 4 seconds. If you want to increase, then we go to the just our config file, and then we can increase for there. Real time reloading. This is one of the, I would say, this is one of the unique feature that Cypress have. So in Cypress, when our test cases are executed, so in the command, in the left side we have a command. So let me quickly show you in the UI so that we can relate all these points. Let me quickly run this. Just give me a moment, please. Let me run any of the test cases. So as such, let me run this test case, suppose, right? So if you see here in the left side, let's run first. So here we have a specs file, all the specs file is there. Then we have here, you can see this is my test case, like this is for the API mocking. So here we have all the commands. So if you see, once I hover over this command, so all the I can see in the right side, I can see all the UI basically, what is happening in the UI, right? And suppose I do any change in the code, it will automatically reload, right? I don't need to push the compile the code and all everything. So just change the command from this basically. Suppose I change any of the line from here, it will automatically start executing. This is the good thing about the this feature actually. Okay. Another is the debugging. So here you can see debugging. You can easily debug. So in Cypress, debugging is very easy. So debugging provides Cypress provides the advanced debugging capability that enable developer to debug their test case in real time. It also includes a time traveling debugger, which allow developer to step through the code and see exactly what happened in each point in the time. Okay. So you can easily debug, like if I go here, then I can see, okay, what this command, why what the command I have given here, is it as per our expectation or not. So we can go here, top to bottom or bottom to top, and we can see in the right side in the UI. Okay. Let's move to the another unique feature of the Cypress. Some of another feature. So we automatic screenshot and video. Cypress automatically take the screenshot of the video. So what we can do, you can set at the config level also. Like if you do not want to take the video and all, you can just off that flag from your config file. But yes, you can basically, if you want to take the video and all, you can do it at the config level. You can do the setting at the config level. Cross-browser testing, Cypress support the cross-browser testing, allow developer to test the application across the different browser and platform. Though we have to do some setting in the config level, but yes, it's supported actually, not directly, but yes, we can do. And network traffic control, as I mentioned, we can, as I mentioned, code is run in the browser. So it's very easy to control the network traffic actually. We can manipulate actually our responses, what are the responses that are coming, like the get or post or delete or whatever the response that is coming, we can control in Cypress very easily actually. Smart smart orchestration. So Cypress have a feature like Cypress Cloud. Cypress Cloud is service that allow you to view the recording of your Cypress tests, especially when you run them on a continuous integration. So Cypress Cloud is what is Cypress Cloud? Cypress Cloud basically is a kind of dashboard where you can see all the stats basically, how many test cases pass, how many test cases my test cases are failed. You can check all the stats there with the help of Cypress Cloud. So let's move to the next slide. So yeah, now before coming to the Cypress best practices, basically I want to say at least basically please try this at your end, and let me explain quickly the folder structure also, because as I mentioned they have their own folder structure. So if you see, this is the default folder structure they have actually. So by default this is the Cypress folder, and inside the Cypress folder we have E2E folder, and in E2E folder you can create or like I have created here page object model or whatever the type of testing. You can categorize your folder type, I mean testing type wise, or whatever the way you want you can basically do, right? So this is E2E basically, where you create your all the test cases. This is a fixture file. Fixture file is nothing but just to keep the data, right? So Cypress by default support the JSON file, but you can do with the Excel also. You can do the CSV file, but they recommend to you this picture file and with the JSON format, right? These are the screenshot basically, whatever the suppose, and we can mention it in the our config file, like my only capture the screenshot of the failed test cases or past test cases that we can do. So when the test, if any of our test cases fail, it will be created under this folder. This is the support folder. Support folder is nothing but basically it's a kind of, here we create all the command for reusable. Basically, suppose I want to reuse some command, so I can create the JS file here, and I can reuse those methods, or you can say those command directly in our test case. We don't need to create any object. It's only CY. Suppose I have created here one. This suppose, let me, okay, just give me a moment. Suppose I have created, yeah. Suppose I have created this command login into the application. So what I can do, I can directly call this method, or you can say command, using cy.login to application. You don't need to create any object and all, because cy itself, cy dot will automatically call this method. Okay. So this is about the support folder, and these you can ignore. This is the config file basically, where you can, like here I keep the video call screenshot as I mentioned. Basically we can mention in our config file, like when my test case is failed, and then only the screenshot is captured. Otherwise, it will not capture the screenshot. This flag for the WebKit, basically suppose I want to run on the WebKit engine, so I mark it true, right? And these are the basically I keep here the base URL here, right? So this is the config file, basically very high level config file. I have not mentioned, I mean, I have not created much here, but yes, all the things that you want to basically customize, you can do here in the config level. Cypress package.json, sorry, this is basically all the dependency that we created. Like here I have installed Cypress Cucumber, Cypress iframe plugin I have installed. So it will display whatever you will, you will install. It will make a, dependency here in the package.json. Okay. So let's quickly move to the slide again. So let's see some of the Cypress best practices that you can use during the creating your framework. And some of the best practices that are I mentioning here is from my experience. Some of the best practices basically come from the Cypress side also, right? So before going to the best practices, the question is, first of all, what is best practices? Are you really need the best practices? So best practice is a standard or set of guidelines, I would say, that not to produce a good outcome if followed, right? Now question is, are we really need to follow the best practices? Sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes is no. So first I will say, I will go with the yes. So why we follow the established best practices or the best practices that we have? The reason is simple. Suppose I have made a product, right? And I have done a lot of R&D in last. I made this product in 2 to 3 years, and there is so many people behind this product, and we have done so many R&D. We have done so many demos. Then we take the feedback, and on the basis of we have taken suppose 100 or 200 feedbacks, right? On the basis of we have some make some set of guidelines, right? So what we have to, what I mean to say, because if we have some set of guidelines, then definitely we have to follow it. But again, it depends upon to you if you want to follow or not. It totally depends on you. Another basically why we do not need to follow the best practices. The reason is simple. Like let me give an example. Like suppose Cypress team say we do not have to use the page object model, suppose, right? And they normally ask we have to use the app action actually. But in my case, suppose page object model is good for me, and or I am able to do the automation, or even client want to follow that pattern, right? That design pattern, actually, page object model design pattern. Then there is no harm to use actually. So again, I want to say it totally depends upon your requirement, and it also I I totally agree with there are some limitations that basically that Cypress recommend using form. But if it's best for me for my project and my client want to do, then we have to do. Another example, suppose some people say, okay, we do not need to do the cucumber actually, right? I totally 100% agree, because when we use the cucumber in our basically as a in the development, so then we are actually introducing that one extra layer actually. We have a feature file, we have a step definition, then we have a page class, right? We are unnecessarily introducing the one extra layer. But I want to give a live example where it benefit me. So basically, first of all, again, if client want, you have to use the cucumber, because cucumber nowadays in some of the project I am seeing people using cucumber, but some people are against of it. Both are mix and match actually, because it sometimes it beneficial for the stakeholder and business person or product owner, because they can easily understand the feature file. Another benefit that I personally see when we onboard someone, right? So normally when we onboard, then we give him, okay, this is the my code repo, then please go through this code repo, and if you have any doubt you can ask, right? But in place of this, if I have a feature file, right? And in feature file we have written in plain English, right? So I mean to say, he can easily correlate the feature file with the code actually, because he understands. Okay, this is given, this is when, then, right? And he can see easily. Okay, when we have a then action, then what is happening? I mean to say he can easily correlate. Plus, I personally feel it during the onboarding, it helped me a lot when some new folks join into the team, because it's sometimes it's not easy to understand the code, because sometimes code is complex. But when we have a feature file, at least the new folks can start actually. Okay, this is my feature file. Okay, I will try to understand. Okay, what the code is doing. So sometimes it benefit actually, but again, it totally depend on you. Some people love to use Cucumber, some people do not like. It totally depend upon your requirement and your project requirement and your client. Okay, so let move